Good evening, this is the Dean of All Things Spicy with Conjured Vapors Peppers, and I'm here to do a pepper review. Thanks to Clayton Hollingsworth, I have some pods even after my garden is done because of the weather. And today, I would like to review for you one of the pods that he sent me. This is a C-3PO. Just a gorgeous little pepper. So I said that I'd be highlighting pepper reviewers that I like, that I watch personally, and today's is Chilli Gnome. So he is a pepper reviewer out of Australia. Seems to be a great guy. I've never actually spoken with him, but I do enjoy his videos. I adore his little gnome prop that he has right next to where he does his reviews. He seems to be building a fairly decent tolerance. And he has a good sense of being able to tell how a pepper can affect you, as well as its true flavors. So please go check Chilli Gnome out, give him a like and a subscribe, and hit the bell notification so that you can be notified anytime he releases new content. So anyway, C-3PO. Cut her open with my handy dandy knife and check her out. I hope everybody's having a good day, a good evening. I know I am. And that's what the C-3PO looks like on the inside. You can see it has quite a bit of placenta or pith, depending on how you want to call the spongy substance up here at the top of the pepper where my fingers are that holds the capsaicin. Anyway, C-3PO. Let's get into it and see how she tastes. It's a good pod. So it starts out kind of fruity, then has a type of bitterness come in, but it's not a bad bitterness. I don't sense any floral notes, no earthy notes, no sweetness, just fruitiness. It's very interesting how the more peppers I eat, and I've been growing for 5 years, the more I'm okay with bitter notes and floral notes. There was a time when I couldn't stand either, right? And now, if a pepper is just purely floral, it's kind of difficult for me, or if it's just purely bitter, it's difficult for me. But if they have the two combined, they meld well, they mesh well, and it's starting to become a flavor profile that I like. This one didn't really have much floral. It was mostly bitter, but I think that the fruitiness at the beginning also helped to offset that bitterness. And it wasn't like a massive amount of bitterness. So the heat level, I'm thinking maybe right around 1,000,000, perhaps. The burn is mostly the roof of my mouth and the middle of my tongue and my lips. I did get a little tickle in the back of my throat. Overall, it's a good pod. I'm just waiting to see if it climbs anymore. Seems like it might still be climbing. And I don't want to prematurely tell you where I truly think the heat lies. So it does seem like my eyes are starting to get a little glassy, so it's probably higher than 1 million. It still has not peaked. Huh. This is a pretty long-lasting burn. And the interesting thing is that it went back from bitterness back to the fruity tone. The aftertaste is delicious. So I'm thinking perhaps 1.2 million on this global heat scale. On my personal scale, it's probably a 3 out of a 10. Maybe approaching a 4 if it keeps going up. I think I have a tear forming in my left eye. My nose is starting to run. This is a good pod. It's got a good heat, and the burn is not harsh. Hmm. I'm really shocked it hasn't peaked yet. I did not think a pod this small was going to keep going like this. Purely handleable. I mean, if you are a type of person who can eat things hotter than a habanero, this is a handleable pepper. If you're not quite to the habanero heat level, I probably would only shave off a little bit of the tip, the pointy end, and try it that way. You can handle a little bit of it, even if you can't handle a habanero. Now, don't get me wrong, if you're only at the jalapeno heat level, you may not want to try this one yet. Hmm. So I think the heat has peaked. My nose is starting to run a little more. I did have a tear form in the left eye, but it didn't fall. So I'm saying 1.2, maybe 1.3, but I don't think so. I think 1.2 million. It is truly a delicious pepper, though. It has, I don't know, that bitterness, the way that it melts with the fruitiness is a good quality. It gives it kind of a unique flavor that I don't really know how to describe. I think I looked this pepper up maybe 2 or 3 years ago when I first heard about it because I'm a Star Wars fan. But I don't remember anything about its genetics. Nor do I like to know the genetics prior to reviewing a pod because I want to give you a true unbiased opinion. I believe that if I Google it or get information on a pepper prior to the review, then my opinion is skewed or biased. So my lips are burning quite a bit, actually. I'm shocked. I'm not used to my lips burning, not from one pod. This is really an interesting pepper. So the way that the heat keeps building and the way that it doesn't really attack your throat, I think the main use for this pod should be hot sauce. You pair this pepper with something like a 7-pot primo, something that hits your throat, or a chocolate primatale, something that hits your throat, and you're going to have a hot sauce that will envelope one's mouth and then reach to the back of your throat as well. And it can make an amazing hot sauce. Now, if I were to cook with this pepper, I would probably put this in an Asian stir fry. Or like a beef and broccoli. Yeah, this would go amazingly well with a beef and broccoli. But I think just about any Asian stir fry it would go really well with. Anyway, so the heat's going back down now. I'm back down to maybe a 1, if that. So yeah, that's it. That was this pod. That was a C-3PO. Thank you very much. Do me a favor and go check out the channel that I told you about earlier. I'll link it in the description down below. This is the Dean of All Things Spicy with Conjured Vapors Peppers. Have a beautiful night. I'm out.